today we shall be looking at data validation in Microsoft Excel. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to explain what data validation means. You should be able to understand why data validation is important in Excel. You should be able to prevent users from entering incorrect or invalid data. You should be able to create professional drop-down lists. You should be able to restrict data entering to specific values. You should be able to allow only valid numbers, dates, times, or texts lengths. You should be able to set maximum and minimum values for data entry. You should be able to display input messages to guide users while entering data. You should be able to create custom errors alerts for invalid custom error alerts for invalid entries. And you should be able to apply data validation in real life businesses, forms, and data entering system. Alright, so what exactly is data validation? What is data validation? So data validation is an Excel feature that allows you to control what users can enter into a worksheet. It helps ensure that only accurate, valid, and consistent data is entered into specific cells. So for example, you are given a cell for male and female, and you want it to be that whoever is going to enter male should only be in capital letters. So that means anybody that enter him should reject it, that this is not correct. So you want it to be that they can enter only a certain type of characters there, a certain type of word there. Then this is what data validation does basically. This is basically what data validation does. So instead of allowing users to type anything, data validation sets rules that determine what values are accepted. Imagine you are creating an employee registration form and the gender field should only contain male and female. Without data validation, someone could type male, boy, and so on and so forth in that place. But data validation will be able to streamline what the person is doing. Why is data validation important? Data validation is one of the most valuable tools for maintaining high quality data in Excel. Instead of correcting mistakes after they occur, it helps prevent them during data entry. So that's what data validation does. It helps you to correct possible mistakes during data entry process. So things that would have probably led to mistakes in the end, you could just correct them using data validation from the beginning. So data validation helps to prevent typing errors. It helps to improve data accuracy. It helps to maintain consistency across records. It helps to reduce duplicates or incorrect entries. It helps to save time spent cleaning data. It helps to improve the quality of reports and dashboard. Ensure users enter information in the correct format and make spreadsheets easier to use. So suppose a school allows teachers to enter students' classes manually. Some teachers may type SSS1, senior secondary 1, SSS1. So in various ways, although they all mean the same thing, Excel treats them as different values. So using a drop down list with SSS1, SSS2, SSS3 ensure everyone enters the class in exactly the same way. So it means if the child is in SS1, they'll just pick SS1 or enter it in that format. So it means you are streamlining that cell to only accept words that are in this format. Types of data validation in Excel. So Excel provides several types of data validation rules. So each is designed to control different types of data. One of it is whole number, another is decimal, another is lists, another is dates, another is time, another is text length, and another is custom formula. Now let's look at what does drop down list, what does it mean? So a drop down list is a data validation feature that allows users to select a value from a predefined list instead of typing it manually. So instead of you typing it manually, there is already a list for you. That is called a drop down list. So rather than entering any text, users simply click the drop down arrow and choose one of the available options. So drop down list helps us to prevent typing error, to ensure consistency in data entry, to speed up data entry, to make spreadsheets easier to use, and to improve the quality of reports and analysis. So for example, without a drop down list, a user may type mail, any of these mails as they are entering. But with the drop down list, we can streamline it to just one type of entry. So suppose we are planning on creating an employee registration form, and department field should only allow the values human resources, finance, sales, and marketing marketing and information technology. So that's the only field that is expected to be in the form. If I just leave that place blank, if I just leave departments blank, some persons might enter statistics as their department, but then we are not even, people with statistics are not meant to fill the information. So it means what we need to do is create a drop down. So instead of trying this repeatedly, instead of typing this repeatedly, we can create a drop down list using the following step-by-step guide. So type the department name somewhere in your worksheet, select the cells where users will choose a department, example cell C2, C20, go to data type, data group, data validation, and then you click data validation. In the settings tab, you allow lists, then click inside the source box, select the lists containing the department names. For example, you cell A2 to A6, then you click OK. Whole number validation. So whole number validation allows users to enter only whole numbers within a specified range. So Excel rejects any value that does not meet that criteria. So in as much as the criteria that we want to meet is whole number, if the value did not meet that criteria, Excel will reject the values. So another is decimal validation. So we notice that in decimal validation, we tell Excel that Excel should enter a certain range of values. So everything within that value can be used. For example, a company allows discounts between 0% and 30%. So it means someone can have 23.4% discounts. So when we put in, for example, if we tell Excel now, if we tell data validation that it should only accept between minimum of 0 and maximum of 30, and we click OK, this makes it accept values like 5.5, 12.75, 29.9, and reject other values like 35, -5, and so on and so forth. Then the next one is date validation. So date validation allows users to enter only valid dates that fall within a specified range. So this helps prevent incorrect or unrealistic dates from being entered. So for example, now we want maybe the people that will register for our form to be people that are above 18 years. So there's a way we can streamline the dates such that if the person is not of that age, the person will not be able to fill the details. So for example, you can streamline a date. Maybe for example, what you want to focus on the loan is this year. What you want to focus on alone is the information within a certain year. You can just pick from January 1st of that year to December 31st of that same year, and you'll be able to get informations within that year. The next one is time validation. Yes, time validation allows users to enter only valid time within a specified time range. So we don't know the time range. We don't know the time range. We don't know the recording hours. All we know is that the time validation will allow the users to enter the valid time that fits a specific range. So basically you can give it maybe a range. Maybe for example, now start time is 8 a.m, end time is 10 a.m. So what does it do? It means anytime within that range it can enter the value, but anything outside that range it doesn't enter the value. Text length validation. Yes, so this one is just like saying it allows you to control the minimum and maximum number of characters that users can enter into a cell. So you have a cell, I can create in such a way that it will be my text to length validation will be 4 to 6. Text length validation allows you to control the minimum or maximum number of characters that users can enter into a cell. So instead of restricting the type of data, it restricts how many character can be entered. This is useful when information must follow a specified length. Yes, so when there is a total number, for example, you should just enter these 6 values. So it means that maybe you are using like all this pin code that will say, okay, it must be 4-digit pin. So that's just what text length validation does. Input messages. Yes, an input message is a helpful instruction that appears whenever a user selects a cell. So it guides users by explaining what information should be entered. Input messages reduce confusion and improve data accuracy. So it's just like saying, for example, you get to the cell and you press the cell, but the cell has been validated. So because it has been validated, input message will be there to tell you that this is what to do. Probably this is the type of format you should use to enter your data, or probably this is it can even tell you, it can tell you so many things. The next one is error alert. So now when you enter the wrong data, in that cell that is not being validated for the cell, there would be an error message that would be displayed. So error alerts are warning messages displayed when users try to enter invalid data. Instead of silently accepting incorrect entries, Excel notifies the user that the entry violates the validation rule. So there are various types of error alerts. We have the stop. So it completely blocks invalid entries and users must enter a valid value. So that means that stop now, it means that entry will not be accepted. Another type of error alert is warning. It warns users about invalid entries and allow them to continue if necessary. So this one is best for when you are doing internal worksheets or you are drafting reports. It is good. So information, it displays information only and users may ignore the messages and continue. It is best for optional guidance, informational forms, and so on and so forth. So for you to create custom alerts, so instead of you using Excel's default error message, you can create your own customized message. This helps users understand exactly what went wrong and how to correct it. Examples of custom messages: we have age validation. Maybe the title is invalid age. What can be message? You can say only ages between 18 and 19 are allowed. So these are just examples of messages. Please enter a registration date within the approved period. So all these are just error messages that you can allow it show, and you can be the one to set it up. Now, removing or editing data validation. When you have used the data validation, you might want to remove data validation or edit it into something else. Yes, this is very, very, very possible. It is very, very possible. You select your data, you go to your data and then to data validation, then you modify the settings, or if you are to delete it, if you want to delete it, you clear everything, you clear all. Common mistakes to avoid is selecting the wrong cell, forgetting to include all list items in the source range, then using incorrect cell references, leaving blank cells in the source list, then forgetting to create input messages, and using unclear error alerts, and so on and so forth. So what are the best practices? The best practices that the rules, let's say, use clear and meaningful drop down options, keep source lists organized, create helpful input messages, use descriptive error alerts, test every validation rule before distributing the workbook. So what are real life applications of data validation? Real life applications is applicable in school, is applicable in businesses, is applicable in hospital, is applicable in banks, is applicable in your church. Yes, is applicable in banks to restrict account types. So those times whereby they'll say money enter the account but it's not coming out until you go to the bank. All those things are just an example of what you use data validation to do. All right, that's it. So we want to deal with data validation. We want to deal with data validation. So, but how do you get to data validation? This is your data. This is data validation. So you see any value, we have O number, we have decimal, all of the things that we saw in our lesson. This column of age now, so we can use data validation, and we'll use O number between, let's say we want the age to be between 10 and 20, 10 and 20 years. So we'll say okay. So it means this place is now validated. If someone enters 30 years here, you can see the error. The value does not match the data validation restriction defined for the cell. So that is data validation. Let's come here and say we use the date validation now. So the date validation, we take start date. Okay, sorry. Start date. So we can say from 1/1/2026, and the end date should be 12 no let's do 31/12/2026. So it means we are looking for the date between the year 2026. Sorry, the month before the year. Sorry, this is 12/31. So we get that, right? So you can even fill that. So actually filling your validation, if you fill this number now, it's going to affect the data here. So instead, when you want to do your validation, you pick all the cell, then you do the validation, so that extend the data validation, just extend the same validation. So the same validation works for all the cells. So let's say this one now is 2027. It will not enter because now an incorrect data. Look at this gender now. Gender. We can have drop down, Abby. Then we say data validation. We'll come here, we'll pick lists. Lists. So you see that in between is off. So for the list now, we'll just say male, comma, female. So we have that. So you discover that in your validation now, there is now a drop down arrow which is picking between male and female. Can you see? So you can easily select the person as a male or a female. So the same thing can be repeated for the class. If you look at this gender now, gender, we can have drop down, Abby. Then we'll say data validation. We'll come here, we'll pick lists. Lists. So you see that in between is off. So for the list now, we'll just say male, comma, female. So we have that. So you discover that in your validation now, there is now a drop down arrow which is picking between male and female. Can you see? So you can easily select the person as a male or a female. So the same thing can be repeated for the class. Okay, so another validation we'll be looking at is let's say text length. So text length you can do between, let's say for this SS1 class, next one will be that's 1 to 3. So we can just say text length equal to 3 values. So it has been noted here. So if anybody enter maybe SSS 3, it will not work because that's now 4 values that is there. So other let's look at let's look at input message. So when cell is selected, show this message. So let's first of all pick up a cell. Let's go for this cell range. So input message, let's say the title of the cell is call. Then the input message will be enter your total score. So we have it like that. So once someone presses cell range, enter your total score, can you see? So it's bringing the message to the person. If you another thing we want to look at again now is error message. So data validation, error alert. So we pick the error star. Is it stop? Is it warning or information? So if it is an error that stops, we'll come here and write the title of the error message. Okay, let's look at, for example, now this male and female. So data validation. So let's come as error message and let's say incorrect sex. So we can now say enter a correct sex between male and female. So if we send that, now let's say someone comes here and puts girl, enter a correct sex between male and female. Can we see that now? Incorrect sex, enter a correct sex. So the person knows what is wrong with what they have done.